Tara!
Let's talk.
Tara!
Let's talk.
Well, Tony, finally, you're here. I've been trying to persuade you in coming on to the podcast, and I know you're a busy man, very busy man. So, Tony, remember this place? When we were doing this place, how long was it now? It's been a while now, this place, this particular area wherein we're doing the podcast.
Yeah, it must be 15 years.
So something like that.
Yeah.
But when I say we, Tony, it's basically just me handing over screws to you, and then you're just building everything,
Yeah.
It's amazing how this place have come. Now, perhaps, Tony, the audience is probably wondering how we met, what's the connection between, why are you on the podcast? And because we try to invite people who are interesting people. They could be friends, they could be part of the community in Waterford. But perhaps we go back there again, right? How we met and when. Probably around 2009 when we first met.
Yeah, about that, yeah.
About that, yeah.
You came to Ireland.
I was in Ireland in 2005, and then a few years after that,
Yeah.
we met.
Yeah.
When we met, you thought you have a back pain or something like that.
Was that the time I hurt my back?
You thought it was your back, but it was actually, was it shingles or something like that?
Oh,
But-
shingles, that was
yeah,
shingles, yeah.
that was funny. Because I had shingles as well before, and it was painful. So Tony here is an engineer.
We manufacture hedge cutters,
Okay.
mulchers for excavators, saws for tractors and hedge cutters and excavators.
You kind of supply all over Ireland and even other countries as well, I'd say.
Yes, we were sending to Australia, to Germany, to Great Britain. Of course, the main market is here in Ireland.
In Ireland, yeah. What can you say about the hedge cutting? How is it in Ireland that it's so important?
Well, it's the growth, I suppose, in Ireland in hedges is very fast.
Yeah.
They have to be cut annually just to keep them
Trim.
trimmed down.
Yeah.
It's a business that never stops growing.
Yeah, that's good. Like the barbers, Tony. Yeah,
yeah.
You're in a very good business,
Yeah.
I'd say. It's
Well, not too much, but
yeah. But how did you start having a manufacturing business, like a hedge cutting business like this? Was it? I know you were an engineer, right? But did it start?
well, I worked in England at
Okay.
engineering. Worked in Germany at engineering, and I came back here. And in 1983, I started the business, and that was it. We're 40 years this year.
And still, obviously, once you're in this type of business, it can never go wrong because, as I said, it's like the barbers, it's growing every year.
Growing every year. The machines are taking a lot of punishment, so they wear
Yeah.
out after 4 or 5 years. The people are replacing them or getting them repaired and stuff like that.
Very interesting here, Tony, that how did you come up with that idea that, I might as well go into this business?
Yeah, but a hedge cutting contractor approached me originally.
Okay.
Asked me to make a hedge cutter,
Okay.
and that's where I started.
All right.
And I went from there, you know what I mean? Just selling word of mouth, really.
Yeah.
Selling machines, So we're still at it. It wasn't a plan to just general engineering, and
Yeah.
ended up making a product,
As being an engineer I suppose, in the past as well, Tony, did you work anywhere else?
Yeah, going back to the
Going
time I
back.
worked in England, I worked in an engineering company for 9 years.
Okay.
Yeah, I was foreman in that factory, so we had
Okay.
27 men welding and fabricating and that, and we were making products basically for the building trade. Everything to do in the scaffolding and trestles and everything that's required in the building trade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But was it that during that time, was Ireland kind of going into boom, or how was it?
No, we wouldn't be, at that stage. No, we weren't even in the EU at that stage.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's I came back in '83, and started but as I said, we weren't the time I went to England, we weren't only begin the starting of the EU, like.
But during that time when you were growing up, how did you come up with, oh, I'm going to be an engineer? Like, what made you decide to become an engineer?
Well, I suppose it's basically when I emigrated to England, I started working in an engineering company and just learned the trade all the way up, like.
Yes, yeah.
And that was basically it's something I liked doing, I suppose. You know what I mean?
But at that time, was there like a formal branch of engineering, or was it like when you said general? Like these days, there's so many branches of engineering.
Well, there is, yeah. Well, usually in fabrication, like construction and stuff like that, I learned from like a trade from the beginning.
Okay,
and went to college and studied further on engineering, and that was it.
But the education at that time, like in Ireland, how was it? Like
no, it wasn't in Ireland. That was in the UK.
In the UK, yeah.
In Ireland, I just finished secondary school and then emigrated to England. Like there was very little work in Ireland at that time. Yeah.
This was like, what year was it roughly?
It would be crikey. It was 64.
Oh, 64.
64, yeah.
Yeah. And if you can describe during that time, what was it like during that time in the 60s?
Pretty bad for work-wise.
For work-wise,
yeah,
okay.
Pretty no hopes.
Really? Was it because the industry is down or everything?
Everything, yes. It was, we hadn't joined. We only progressed as a country once we joined the EU.
The EU.
Yeah, before that it was pretty bleak, like.
Really? Yeah, like even let's say there's a strong connection between, or was there any strong connection between England and?
Oh yes, most people. Yeah, most
Republic
people
of Ireland
that wanted work, like.
They go to UK.
Went to the UK.
Ah, I see.
It was just a necessity. There wasn't.
Yeah. I remember you were saying before you were about like around 17-year-old and you were at the pub and
we weren't. We were at a dance in Waterford, so I didn't go to, I didn't drink at that time.
Oh yeah.
But we were at a dance in Waterford, and eating chips and delicates.
Yeah.
which is still in Waterford.
Yeah.
But I suppose we just. Somebody said, where are we going next weekend? And one of the boys said, we'll go to England.
Yeah.
And that was it. We just went to England, like.
Yeah.
It was as simple as that. There was 4 of us in it, and the 4 of us were headed off to England the following week.
Did you know where to stay, or was it like...
we had the friends that arranged that for us.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, so they were neighbours, like. That worked in the UK all their life as well. So in that way.
But did you go on the ferry, or was it...
train from Waterford Station to Rosslare and across on the ferry to London.
Because was the airplane was like expensive at that time?
It probably would be. It was only £7 to go at that stage.
£7. Yeah. When you stayed there, how long were you in the UK during that time? Like, did you stay there and then get your studies, or did you have to come back? And
no, I never. I didn't. I never came back to Ireland.
Really?
Other than on a holiday.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
It must be tough, I'd say, when you're like in your
not really.
In your 17, 18.
Yeah. No, I suppose we were ambitious.
Ambitious, yeah.
Life,
Yes.
It wasn't anything to do with. It's necessary to earn money, like.
Nowadays, they think that probably like Ireland is like this already, like, obviously they have no recollection. They have no experience. They haven't seen it because they were not born at that time, I'd say.
There was no choice.
No choice, yeah.
If you wanted to make a reasonable living, like, people who went to school with, I'd say 8 out of 10 went to the UK.
Really?
Yeah.
That's how bad it was at the time.
Choices for work. People that worked on farming stayed at farming, like, but people for general work, like, wasn't that widely available, like.
Yeah, but yeah,
bad money, like.
Obviously, you can't work in the hotel. There's nothing there really. There's no hotel like that.
No interest.
No interest. Yeah.
I worked at a hotel, yeah. No, that was the life for lots of people that I went to school with.
Right.
Ended up in the UK.
But do you have to send money home, or was it?
No.
You don't do that at all.
Yeah. Well, people would do it, like, but we were we didn't do it, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. The Filipinos, I must say, if you are working abroad, it's like it's a must that you have to send home.
Send money.
Send
yeah,
money home.
no,
Something like that.
nothing like that. No.
Okay.
It's different times, I suppose. You know?
Yeah, yeah. It's like
It wasn't necessarily it was poverty, like, but like say the opportunities in for working wasn't in Ireland. That's
yeah, yeah.
there's plenty of opportunities here in Ireland now, like, but
Yeah.
back then there weren't. Like, take the boat, as they say.
As they say, yeah.
And try in the UK, like, you know what I mean? I said I worked in the UK for 11 years. I worked in Germany at engineering for a year, and then I
Okay.
came back to Ireland again.
And Germany at that time,
Oh, I had to
it's
get a-
always the
I
same
had,
like
I
that.
had to get a visa because
Really?
we weren't.
Oh, yeah, you're not part of the
We're
EU.
not part of the EU.
But was it difficult to go there or
No
It-
problem.
because if you're an Irish citizen, and they will always say, okay, even though you're not EU at that time, still they're open for.
They were open, yeah. You could
for work.
anyone could go there. You didn't, other than getting the work permit. So that's all you needed to get there.
Unlike in the Philippines, Tony, even if you're, let's say, you want to work, as far as I know, if you want to work to like the likes of Hong Kong or Singapore, there's so many processes that you need to go through in order for you to work there. It's not as simple as get the ticket, go there, find a job, and if they take you, they'll take you.
No, I got work in Germany from an advertisement in English newspapers. And I answered the advertisement and sent them my curriculum, and that was it. And got the job.
That's very easy. That's
Other than getting a permit to go there, that was
Okay.
all. It was pretty straightforward.
But it's not as difficult as, let's say, they won't be kind of scrutinizing your whatever paper that you're sending them off. Unlike in the Philippines, I suppose only maybe because it's this big competition, I say. Imagine there's about 100 million.
100 million. There was only even today. There's only like 5 million people in Ireland.
In Ireland, yeah.
So it's pretty small. In Germany, or in the UK, the opportunities was easy to get a job.
I find it, Tony, when I got my Irish citizenship at that time, that was the moment where I kind of, when you're in the airport, there's some sort of, if you're not an EU, you lined up over there, and if you're all these things, there's like a separation when it comes to like, obviously queuing, lining up. That's when I felt like, oh, you need to be a citizen of some other country and nation or whatever in order for you to be treated like, it's not like a racial whatever thing, but it seems like if you're a Filipino citizen passport holder, you're categorized in a different way, in the airport. But if you're, let's say, British, American, Irish, I mean, I don't know, they trust the passport.
Yeah, but there was
kind of like that.
There was no passport to go to the UK.
Okay.
There was always a trade agreement between Ireland and Great Britain, like.
Okay.
So you could just go there. You didn't have to ask anyone.
But how would they know? They just card, maybe ID.
Nothing.
Really?
Nothing.
But was it because?
I got my passport when I lived in England.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
When I wanted to go to Germany, like I had got.
They needed passport when you went, maybe.
Wasn't required.
Really?
Maybe ID, like, but I'd got one.
Okay.
When I was 18 years old, I got my first passport, like, but it was for travel anyhow.
Yeah.
If I had wanted to go someplace,
Like when
but
you
there was no identification. Or
really?
nothing.
Do you mean to say when you landed
In the UK?
in the UK?
Yeah.
They never. Hey,
No,
can
who are you?
Nothing
No.
like no, nothing.
No, they might ask you your name and where you came from, but that was it.
Really?
Yeah.
But maybe because the
there was
immigration.
It's always been like that since the 1920s. It was like, you think the amount of Irish people
Yeah.
that worked in the UK, like.
Maybe because Tony, because obviously you look.
It's a free trade agreement, like,
Yeah.
with the country and that.
But if you look like me,
Yeah.
if I go there during that time,
Yeah,
they will be asking
they
me.
probably
They'll be asking, hey.
they shouldn't do, but
Yeah.
I know. Yeah,
But maybe like that, because obviously all of you, kind of there's no basically it's not many Asians maybe.
There was there was lots. Well, there was
Lots
lots
of
of
Asians.
Asians in Indians,
Okay.
Pakistanis,
But-
Chinese, of course.
Okay.
All nationalities in England. Like.
In England, yeah.
Well, they obviously had to have
Some sort of
work
an
permits
ID.
to get there. Like,
Ah,
you know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
But for the Irish, there was no. It wasn't. It wasn't
Yeah.
required. Like.
It's always like presume that, you know, if you look certain look, then you're
Yeah.
okay. Maybe like that.
Yeah. Well,
I can only presume. It's
look,
like,
it was no big deal. Like going.
no, yeah.
No worry that you were going to be sent back or anything like that.
Yes, yeah.
And Britain was crying out for
Mm-mm,
people to work there. Like, you know.
Yes, yeah. They need manpower and all these things.
Yeah.
Because at that time, obviously, they are one of the top 5 must be in the world, you know, when it comes to economy.
It would have been, yeah. The British Empire, which is
Yes, yeah.
still going strong.
Going strong. Yeah. The Queen, it was the Queen at that time.
Yeah.
How did you come up working in Africa, Tony?
Well, I didn't work in Africa. We took,
Or
just
you
took
went-
a trip.
Trip in Africa,
Trip to
Africa, yeah.
Yeah, with my friend who I worked with, Peter.
Yeah, yeah.
We decided to cross the Sahara.
Yes.
At that time, yes, we had an old 1937 Austin.
Wow. Okay.
That was it. We just went,
Imagine 1937 Austin. How did you come up with that? Yeah.
bought in a scrapyard.
Oh, I see. Yeah. No wonder.
I suppose young people that were interested in
Traveling.
well, Peter and I worked for the North Sea Gas
Okay.
at the time we came in.
Okay.
They wanted engineers to we had to go back to college and pass an exam to get the job. But we both were on the same training course.
Yes,
and,
yeah.
we just struck up a friendship like that. So the cars, like a lot of young people, motorbikes and cars were.
Yes.
If you're anyway mechanically minded, you were stuck at that thing. You know what I mean? So the Austin was made roadworthy at the time, and in 1970, then 1970, that was 1970, 71. Then we decided to
Go to.
take it across to France.
How much did you buy? By the way, how much did you buy that scrap 1937 Austin?
Yes, it's £30.
30 pounds. Oh my God, 30 pounds. That's it. They probably thought, you know, whoever the junkyard guy.
Well, cars were second-hand cars.
Oh, yeah.
Old cars were cheap to buy.
30. Imagine.
If you're interested in repairing them and putting them going, like. But
Kind
then
of-
£30 was a lot of money then.
At that time.
It would have been a week's wages anyhow.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. I
I
suppose, you
suppose
know,
it's all relative to the
inflation.
yeah.
Yeah. And where did you start traveling? Like when you got the car and.
Yeah, we took it across to France, to Dover.
Yeah.
Drove it down to France, all the way down to France, over the Pyrenees, down into Spain,
Wow.
and down into southern Spain, crossed over to Morocco. And that was it. It was pretty straightforward.
Straightforward, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of driving.
A lot of driving. And was it a petrol or diesel?
Oh, petrol.
Petrol. There's no. What's the diesel like before?
There were very few diesel cars.
But why is that? How come?
Oh, petrol would have been
The usual thing?
All cars were petrol. Basically, tractors were TVO or diesel, like, you know.
Yeah.
Car would be.
Yeah, because at that time maybe the machinery
I
for
don't even remember seeing a diesel car.
really.
Yeah.
And was it because it's expensive to produce a
No,
diesel?
nothing to do with it. It's just it was the way to go, as they say.
Oh,
It's
okay.
just diesel cars became more popular later years, like.
You oftentimes you'll see it on the National Geographic that like the people from, let's say, Britain, Germany, Irish, you know, you go to certain places like this, like, you know, Africa. And why is that, Tony?
Well, it wasn't any, just spoke about it and said we'd do it, like, you know what I mean? There wasn't any big plan, like, as such, thought out plan, like. The plan was to drive all the way to South Africa, which was a little bit over ambitious.
That was the first. That's the first trip that you went, because as far as I know, you said that there's 2 trips you went to cross the Sahara for twice, like, you know.
Yeah. Well, I returned when I came back after that trip and returned back. I was in a Volkswagen.
But if we talk about the first experience of going to Sahara and meeting people there as well, Tony, in Africa. But was there like an African in Ireland before?
Peace would have been to. I would have travelled to Africa prior to that. Yeah, he was well travelled, like.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
More travel than I was like.
Were you influenced by him?
No, basically just hitchhiking around. He'd already hitchhiked, went to America, went to Australia. So he would have been a seasoned traveller in
Oh,
one
yeah.
way. Going by car, it was a little bit more adventurous, I suppose. And as I said, it was pretty difficult across the desert. There was no road there is a road across the Sahara now, but there was no roads then. There was just some sticks in the ground.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, that
Oh, just to say that, this is the pathway
this is
or
the direction,
leading you to this and that.
Yeah.
Oh, imagine if the sand dune
You could go a kilometre this side of
Yeah.
the poles or this side of the poles.
gone or
Yeah.
something.
There was no. It was basically, as I said, the basic
Just a marker kind of.
markers. Yeah, but there was
Yeah.
only 4 towns involved in crossing the desert, basically from Insala to Tamanrasset. That was it. It was pretty basic, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The desert is very, very wide. When we were travelling across started on that journey, there was 4 French lads ahead of us, 2 weeks ahead of us,
Yeah.
and they died.
Wow.
Yeah, seemingly missed one of the towns,
Wow.
and that's it. So they were between
But
18
yeah.
and 24.
Once you miss it, that's it. Because obviously your
pretty
stocks
it was
and
pretty
everything.
dangerous. That aspect of it, like, there was no, as I said, if you didn't have fuel to get to the town,
Yeah.
it was basically a death sentence.
That's yeah. Like
Other than you were lucky that they were in convoy with somebody else, and that was pretty dangerous, like.
That-
But we didn't think like that about
At that time.
about it. No, when you're
yeah. What age were you at that time?
well, it would have been
Would you be in your
24.
30s? Yeah.
No, not 30.
Oh, 20s?
24.
Wow. What? 24?
Yeah.
Oh my God, 24. That was like, you think you know
Well, we were
everything,
both
but
around the same age, like. I think Pete was only a few months older than me, like.
24. Oh my God.
But it was like an adventure.
But was it because you heard somebody in the past, oh, we crossed Sahara and then,
no,
we'll go?
Nothing like that. It's just like a wild idea, like lots of things are.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a big plan, like.
Yeah.
We had got the maps and all that type of thing, but it was, it's just an adventure.
Like people crossing Sahara, it's like, it's a test of will.
Certainly a test of will
Yeah.
aspect of it was a 1937 car with spoked 4-inch wheels.
Oh
It
my
was
God, there was
stuck in the sand,
Yeah.
pushing it every day.
Yeah.
It wasn't. There was no paved roads, for example. So that was it was totally off the beaten track, like.
Yeah. But did you study like how to survive in the desert or something like that?
The only thing rule of thumb was to get to the next town
Okay.
and fuel up,
Oh,
and that
okay.
was it, and head off again.
That's your like, hey, we better go, we better reach the next town, otherwise you'll be dead, basically.
If you'd missed it, like as the French lads did, they missed it, one of the towns,
Yeah.
and they hadn't fuel to get on to the next town. That's it. They were searching for them when we had to sign. We had to sign with the papers with the police that we were responsible for our own lives.
Yeah, that nobody can, obviously at that time, they won't be rescuing you, I'd say.
You wouldn't be rescued. No.
Yeah.
There was no phones. You must remember.
Nothing like that.
No, only compass and good maps.
Yeah.
Water holes and all that. We had well prepared for that, like.
Oh, yeah. Food-wise, what did you bring?
Basic things, like, you know what I mean? Sardines.
Sardines. Oh,
Sardines.
yeah.
Plenty of water and bread.
Bread.
That was
okay.
it. We kind of lived like that. You couldn't bring a lot in a 1937 car with 2 seats in it.
Yeah. But like when it comes
When you see a picture of it, you'll see our provisions was basically water and petrol. Food was a secondary.
Second, yeah. When you were preparing for the food, were you preparing for like a week or 2 or something? What's the preparation like? If you can bring us back there.
Well, bring back to crossing the desert, it took nearly 3 months.
Like 3 months to
Yeah, but as I said,
to prepare, or is that or
no, it's just to cross.
to cross.
Like
Yeah.
Obviously, we weren't driving night and day. We were making slow progress through the towns, like.
Okay.
And then we could spend a couple of days there or a week there, and then head off to the next one. Make sure the car was still mechanically sound. Like.
Sound, yeah.
Yeah.
And how big is the town? Each town that you
very small.
like when you compare
Only
it?
villages, basically.
Villages. Okay.
Yeah. Tamanrasset would have been a pretty big town, like.
But how this?
In comparison to today, like that. Yeah.
But how do they survive? The villagers, they have their own water supply.
They had the oasis, like they
Okay.
the four main towns had their own oasis. Like.
Okay.
There was water there, palm trees. They grew palm trees.
Okay.
Kept goats and sheep,
Okay.
and
Like they're making their
camels.
own-
Of course, was camels.
Camels, yeah.
If you're interested in camels,
Yeah, yeah.
Agadez was the place to go. That would be in Niger, like
Niger, yeah.
Algeria, like.
Mm,
I think it was. I think it still is the biggest camel dealing place in Africa. Like.
In Africa, yeah.
Yeah, camel.
There is this video I've seen. They raise camels and they travel from one place to another place with all the camels.
Oh yeah,
I can't remember what they call
walk
that thing.
for days, like. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So you get your stock as you arrive for like in a certain town. You get stocks there as well, or you?
Oh yeah, we
Okay.
buy like the basic foods, like nothing. Some fruit which you could get, like
Okay.
and things like that. But basically bread, lots of tins of sardines because
Yeah.
they would keep, like. And that
Yeah.
is, we'd
And money wise, how much money did you bring?
it was very
Little.
very cheap, like.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Roughly, like, can you
usually
remember?
had to barter for everything.
Oh, yeah.
Being a foreigner,
Yeah, yeah.
it was 3 times the price.
But did you bring like 200 pounds or something, or at
Yeah,
that
when we had
time?
money, we could wire money.
Oh, you can. Okay.
Yeah, that was, but anyhow, we had enough money. That money wasn't ever an issue. Like, I suppose safety was the only.
That's the thing.
Yeah, safety.
Like, I can imagine when you were traveling like that from one place to another place in the Sahara Desert, were there any instances wherein somebody was trying to
no,
take you or
very
something?
very safe.
Okay.
Very safe in that aspect of it. It wasn't. We never saw anything untoward.
But were you just the two of you and Pete? Were you just the
was
two
it.
of you?
Oh,
No,
yeah.
you saw nobody.
Well, while traveling from one town to another,
Yeah.
basically no one.
Really?
Maybe some trucks going would be on the same direction.
Okay.
Yeah, and that'd be it.
Do they say hi to you? Like, do they stop?
No, they just keep going. We were just driving, and they were driving. Usually lorry drivers, and I usually
Yeah.
aiming to go A to B, and there's 100 people up on the load paying for
Yeah.
a ride, as they say. It was pretty basic in that, like, you know what I mean. You didn't interact that much with people, like.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. It was the first year of the Paris Dakar rally. We remember seeing the rally cars. They were. That was the first. I think only 4 cars finished the Paris Dakar.
Really?
I think in that year, and they were all Citroen air-cooled cars.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so it was. Yeah,
Like, I'd imagine, how did you cope up with the heat during the day of when you're
the
traveling?
heat was pretty bad in the daytime. In the night, it could be freezing.
Freezing.
It's unusual for the desert doesn't hold the heat, like, so it's quite good sleeping bags. The only danger would have been snakes.
Okay.
or
Rattlesnakes.
scorpions. And things
Oh,
like that.
yeah, yeah.
Up in the morning, you need to stand up
Hmm.
while still in your sleeping bag.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah.
You have to learn to would have
Yeah,
fallen over.
yeah. Yeah.
It wasn't that. It wasn't. It was cold in the night times, and that was it. Pretty cold now, but we had good sleeping bags. We
Yeah.
had good maps, very good maps, Michelin maps at the time, and
Pretty much detailed, I'd
we
say.
had all the water holes were in it.
Oh, okay.
But if we stuck to the basic route, it didn't deviate too far off of it. The towns was there, like, you know what I mean. Water would have to be boiled always. You couldn't drink the water.
Otherwise, you have obviously your tummy bug or
Unless
something like
unless
that.
you came to one of the towns, like where they had running water, like. But it was always preferable to
Boiled water.
Boiled water. Coca-Cola. It was
Coca-Cola, yeah.
Yeah, no.
Nothing like that, yeah.
5 times the price.
Really?
Yeah, just natural. They would.
It's hard to get stocks there, I'd say. That's why.
Oh no, it was there. It was
Okay.
there.
But it's expensive.
Being classed as a foreigner, it was usually.
Oh, they will.
It was you had to barter with if you know what I mean. It was just.
It's always been like that, isn't it, Tony? If you're a foreigner,
Yeah.
they would always think that you have loads of money.
Loads of money, yeah.
Yeah.
We paid 5 times for a bottle of Coke. They'd be happy.
They'd be, yeah. They'd be like, oh, we're.
It's a tough game. But we didn't bother. Water was fine. We boiled our own water always.
Always, yeah. When you finish the travel, Tony, the crossing the Sahara, what was the feeling like? Imagine 3 months on the road.
Oh yeah. Well, the car didn't survive the desert.
Oh,
At the
wow.
end of the day, like we got as far as Niger.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, from Algeria into Niger. We were heading for Agadez. The car broke the front axle, and luckily had met some Canadians. We actually met them in Tamanrasset, and they were heading south as well. So we went in convoy with them. But, the front axle broke. We were, I think, 230 miles from the nearest town.
Wow.
So there was no such thing as we had to leave it there.
Really?
So we just hitched with the guys as far as into Niger down to Agadez, and we separated. We went our own way, like basically at that stage. We headed down as far as Nigeria, and that was it. Pete went on to South Africa, and I stayed in West Africa at that stage.
But was there any, was it not a thing in the past wherein if somebody crosses the Sahara Desert, there will be like people there saying, hey, you guys, congratulations, or...
No, nothing.
It's just
like
your own thing, is it?
Yeah, it's just their own thing.
Okay.
There was no interest to
Nothing.
no, so that was it.
Like nothing like...
Once into Niger, there was paved roads and little towns. It was totally different in that aspect of it. Like we headed, Pete and I then separated in Nigeria, and I stayed in Nigeria for about, I think, 10 weeks. I think.
Okay.
At that stage, and my visa had expired.
Oh.
And it wouldn't, the police wouldn't renew it because I'd been there. Well, it was after the Civil War there.
Okay.
In at that stage, so I was suspicious of there was lots of mercenaries involved in the Civil War, and there was a suspicion always there. So I left Nigeria and headed into Dahomey, and travelled through Dahomey onto Togo, and I stayed in Togo then for probably 11 months.
Wow. You've spent so many times in Africa, really.
Well, I worked in Togo, you see.
Okay.
I had met a French Canadian that worked for the Canadian government.
Yeah.
And I was able to get some employment and earn some money. At that stage, I was almost broke.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I had studied, even though I've always worked at engineering, I had studied ceramics.
Okay.
And in England, this was like a hobby as such, I suppose.
Okay.
But, the man I met was setting up
a company.
No. With the Canadian government, like the Red Cross.
Okay.
Setting up artisanal work for the Togolese, like.
Yeah.
And that's how I got chatting to him, and he said, I told him he was doing pottery.
Yeah.
Jacques Garnier was his name. He's dead now, but he was a famous Canadian potter.
Really?
And,
okay.
He got me work.
Mm-hmm.
That was it. I worked there. We were basically teaching people from slab pots to turning pots on wheels. You know what I mean? The potter's wheel wasn't ever invented. It was. I think there was only continents in the world that the potter's wheel was never invented.
Really?
But it's like So that was it. That was interesting. And after that, then I headed back home again. Back to the UK.
To the UK.
Yeah.
And this time you flew.
No,
Still.
a Volkswagen.
Volkswagen. Oh, yeah, okay. Still by land.
Yeah, pretty good car for the Sahara Desert, of course.
Yeah. German car.
Yeah, German car. Yeah, and travelled all the way back up through Burkina Faso, back up into Agadez, and back on the main route that we came down, back into Tamanrasset, and back up through a thing. And I didn't go back to the UK. I went to. I had transferred money that I earned in Africa to a bank account in Lille in northern France. A French guy organised that for me.
Yeah.
At the time. Yeah, travelled all the way up. Went there. Went to France, into Germany. And that was my first time in Germany then. And that's probably maybe the idea I went to Germany after was
Yeah.
there was plenty of work in Germany, like.
Yes,
But,
yeah.
After that, I met up with years later. Went by then. I met up with Peter again,
Yeah.
and I used to travel to He'd lived in South Africa at that stage.
Oh, yeah.
Go down to South Africa.
Was Peter like, he's not a South African guy.
No, he's English.
He's English.
English,
And
but English. They would be the Brits owned South Africa up to the time of the Boer War, I think. So there was lots of Brits in South Africa.
in South Africa, yeah.
Yeah. So I went back to South Africa then, and Pete and I done up to Namibia and crossed down to the Namib Desert.
Oh, wow.
And we crossed the Kalahari Desert as well. But we done that in style, like in the sense of Land Rovers.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Well prepared this time when you went there.
Oh, yeah.
When you're
Well, of
crossing
course,
that.
anything in the desert, you need
Yeah.
to be prepared
Yes.
mechanically wise, like, but not as dangerous as the Sahara.
Yeah.
The distances weren't
What is it, like half the distance of the Sahara or
lot smaller.
smaller? Oh, yeah.
Well, Land Rovers were pretty well built, like for the desert, like. But certainly not the Austin 7.
Yeah.
It was only fit for paved roads.
Yes, yeah.
So that aspect of it was.
That's even like a more challenging when you had that Austin.
Yeah. Well, I suppose.
Yeah.
I had planned another trip with Peter to drive from London back to South Africa, Cape Town, and then ship the Jeep to Chile and travel all up through South America. I pulled out of that 2 weeks before we done it, like, because I'd met my first wife at that
First
stage.
wife, yeah.
And I suppose, like everything, pulled out of that. Pete done that that trip.
He loves adventure, land. Land
He
adventure.
travelled a lot, like.
Yeah. And
Got killed in a car crash.
in the car? Imagine
Except
it's
his wife got killed in a
very-
car crash.
yeah.
2002, I think. Yeah.
After all the
After
traveling.
all the travelling, yeah. He'd
Yeah.
tell you fantastic stories, like. Yeah. That trip to South America would have took 2 years.
2 years. Yeah.
2 years, driving down to Africa, shipping down to Chile, driving back up to the United States. That was a 2 year.
2 year trip. Yeah. It's amazing, isn't it? When he died, he
He
had.
travelled, I suppose, he travelled a lot more than I did, like,
Yeah.
in that aspect. He would have, he told me a great story. He was in India, travelled through India, and he had a Land Rover, and he actually knocked in a crowded market, like, which was hundreds of people.
People, yeah, walking, driving, yeah.
And in first low gear, like, barely had to move along.
Yeah.
He hit this woman, and she was hit.
Yeah.
Just bumped off her.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't bumped off her, and she was screaming on the ground, and all the people were looking into the Jeep. He thought he was going to be killed or lynched.
Yeah.
And the policeman came up. We had a big stick,
Yeah.
bamboo, like about 6 foot long, and he made a path. He asked Peter what happened, and he said that he hit that woman, like she was and the policeman went over to the woman,
Yeah.
and he spoke to her, obviously in Indian. Like,
Yeah.
And next thing he started hitting her with a stick, she ran away.
Oh
And
my
he
God.
told him to.
Yeah.
He made a space, and he told him to go.
Yeah.
Get out of here, and that was it.
Yeah.
That was his.
Giving out to the woman who had been bumped.
There was nothing. Well, she wasn't.
It wasn't really. She wasn't hit like really hard anyway.
No. You couldn't.
He was probably pretending.
It was a walking pace.
Yeah.
Because it was such a crowded area, like.
Mm.
But the policeman had no sympathy for her, and he beat her with the stick.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
beat all the people out of the way and told them
Yeah.
to get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
That would be.
You're in the way.
Yeah.
Just
That was his funny incidents, like.
was he a good storyteller? He must be, Pete.
Oh, he would have marvelous stories to tell, like, you know what I mean? I said he'd come to visit me in Ireland, and I'd go back to South Africa. We're doing it regular enough, like, until he'd been with me here in Ireland with his wife and his only child. And the last time he was here, he didn't bring his daughter. And when he went back, himself and his wife got killed in the car crash in South Africa, like.
Oh, how did you hear about it? Like,
His daughter phoned me.
oh, phone you.
Yeah.
Okay, that time phone is okay. Yeah.
She was only 16, so I went out to the funeral and that, and that was it. That was peace. We had.
How old was he at that time when he passed away?
He would be
In the early 40s must be.
50s maybe.
50s, okay.
50s, yeah.
That's young.
Yeah.
And
52, I think he was. Yeah.
must be yeah.
Of all the driving and all the world
Imagine.
he had travelled, couple from Namibia, the husband and wife, killed Peter, husband and wife, a head-on collision, but he had died seemingly at the steering wheel. He was going for cancer treatment in
Okay.
his mid-70s, and he seemingly died at the wheel, and he just unfortunate. The straight road, he
Straight
just
road.
crashed into him, came over to his side of the road, and
Oh my
that
God.
was just life is like that. So you never know.
You'll never know, no matter how good you are in driving, you'll never know who's going to be
What's
coming
coming against you?
against you. Yeah, that's the thing.
It wasn't like it was a perfectly straight road from Cape Town to Clanwilliam, a pretty good road.
yeah.
Good roads in South Africa, like.
I suppose if it's your time, it's really your time. It's kind of like that in such a way. Imagine like him, Peter, being expert on the road, basically.
Yes, I know.
You know, and then something happened like that.
Every type of breakdown you could imagine.
Yeah.
went through, I suppose, and
Yes.
then get killed in a head-on collision. Like that.
Crossing the Sahara twice, and
He did.
it was okay.
He'd done it more. He'd done it twice.
oh, more than you.
Yeah, 4 times, I'd say.
Wow, it's like a walk in the park for him,
Yeah.
the Sahara.
Yeah, as I said, the previous trips would I actually, the Land Rover, prepared the Land Rover for his next trip across the Sahara, which I was supposed to go as well, like. But as I said, it would, that was it. We all go different directions, like in life.
And the daughter's still in South Africa, and we have a contact,
Oh,
I'd say.
in connection.
You're in connection with
Yeah.
the daughter.
He'd been to Ireland
Oh,
several times.
okay.
When she was like, say, 6 or 7.
Mm.
And at that age, she was only 16 when.
Okay.
So they'd been here several times, like. Yeah.
That's amazing story, Tony. When you came back to Ireland at that time, how was the economy
Well, the economy was going pretty good then, like. Pretty good, yeah.
when you came here?
Yeah.
And you started your family and all these things. And business-wise, was it the start of boom, or was it like
No, it was pretty good, like.
pretty good already?
It started in 83, and I'm still at it today.
That's great, Tony. And thank you for sharing your experiences in life. We can probably, talk some more, in some other time, I'd say. I'm delighted that we've done this, the first podcast, and it's not the last, I'd say. So for all the people out there, keep watching Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And we have Mr. Tony Roach here, a very successful individual into hedge cutting business, a manufacturer of prominent hedge cutting machines in Ireland.
The only one manufactured in Ireland.
The only one. See, the only one manufacturer, because the others, the competition is actually from England. I'm so glad that you and I met, and then we kept this. We're keeping this friendship until to this date, I suppose, and hopefully it will last until we're still here. In this world.
That's it.
That's it for now. Thank you. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. Thank you again. Have a good one there. Tara!
Let's talk.
Tara!
Let's talk.